A couple of weeks ago, there was a report that the EU is considering mandating USB-C ports on most mobile products. And to the surprise of absolutely nobody, Apple has come out complaining that this is an unnecessary regulation that will stunt innovation. So why is the EU proposing this in the first place? Are Apple's concerns completely unwarranted? And are there any parallels with similar regulations in other industries? The answers to all these questions and more here at Techonomics. Hey, it's Carlos, always trying to provide you with an insight on technology and how it's affecting you and the world at large. This story is particularly interesting and extremely important because, for the most part, the tech space has remained all but completely unregulated over the past couple of decades, making understanding the EU's move even more important because of potential recourse by other governments all around the world. But for that, we need to get some context. So the EU decided that it's going to require a variety of different portable electronic devices to use USB-C ports for charging. They also are going to ban bundling chargers with the products. Obviously, the most impacted product is going to be smartphones, but it's actually significantly more expansive than that. It also includes tablets, cameras, headphones, portable speakers, and handheld consoles. Many see this as a direct aim at Apple because they've been stern in their opposition to using USB-C on their iPhone for years, especially since they introduced their proprietary Lightning connector in 2012 with the iPhone 5. But again, it's not all about Apple products. For years, most Android phones use micro USB. And while now the vast majority have switched to USB-C, there are still many, especially the cheaper ones, that refuse to do so because of the high manufacturing and licensing costs. And that's just smartphones. When you look at all the other products like tablets, headphones, portable speakers, etc., they tend to be significantly cheaper than smartphones, making their margins that much smaller. And the higher expenses of implementing USB-C that much more impactful. It is for that reason that, in most cases, these products use micro USB instead of USB-C. But then that poses the question, why is the EU implementing this policy in the first place? They should know perfectly well the reasons why USB-C hasn't been widely adopted. Well, fortunately for us, they released an official document on September 23, 2021 to explain themselves. The most important reason is environmental. Having tons of different chargers for tons of different ports creates unnecessary waste. It would be much better for the environment to just have one or two that you could use for all of your devices. By unbundling the charger and the product, waste is reduced even more as you'll only buy a charger if you actually need one. Both of these things have the effect of significantly improving the experience for the end user because it is much more convenient to reuse existing chargers and not have to deal with a bunch of unnecessary waste. Another reason for the EU Commission for implementing the USB-C port standardization policy is that it harmonizes fast charging technology. USB-C has a modern, efficient, and functional standard, making the implementation of fast charging for the port both easy and relatively ubiquitous. This is especially beneficial for consumers because they can now expect a certain standard of fast charging when they purchase a product. The last reason why they implemented this policy is for transparency with customers. The reality is that most users aren't a bunch of tech nerds. They just want their stuff to work and work well. By standardizing the charging port, consumers can know that their electronic devices will work well, and because there's only one port, if they really want to know why, it will be significantly easier to do so. But are these reasons enough? What does the opposition have to say, and is there any validity to it? Well, obviously Apple is going to be against the move. They think that this will stifle innovation, saying, "We remain concerned that strict regulation mandating just one type of connector stifles innovation rather than encourage it, which in turn will harm consumers in Europe and around the world." Well, let's start with what they said that is true. If you overregulate, it will without a doubt limit innovation. People and businesses will be putting so much time and resources towards fulfilling the regulation that could be put towards making better products. And this is definitely something that regulators should be worried about in growing industries. The problem is that this argument just doesn't hold true in this specific case. First and foremost, Apple can't really complain about lack of innovation in charging ports when they've been using the same Lightning port for almost a decade. A port, by the way, that uses USB 2 level speeds maxing out at 480 megabits per second. Just for comparison, USB-C uses at least USB 3.1 standard at roughly 5 gigabits per second, around 10 times the Lightning connector speed. It's also hypocritical and rather perplexing that Apple is complaining about the USB-C port when they use that port exclusively on their high-end products like the MacBook, the new iMacs, and their iPad Pro. You can't find any other port on those devices, which seems to me a pretty solid admission that they know that USB-C is superior. They just don't want to pay for putting it on cheaper products. And this argument goes even further than for Apple's Lightning port. There is no competition going on for the best port in the world. The tech industry as a whole has universally accepted USB-C as the superior port across a variety of different product lines. Furthermore, it has continued to advance since coming out, only widening the gap between it and its supposed competitors, reaching data transfer speeds of 20 gigabits per second, meaning that this regulation isn't stifling innovation. On the contrary, it's forcing products using inferior ports to adopt a more advanced technology that will have nothing but upsides for the consumer. It's pretty clear to me that this move is warranted. The points that the EU has made are true. It will help minimize waste, it's better for the environment, and it will result in better products and a better experience for the consumer. Nothing but upsides. And the innovation argument is bogus given that no one is actually innovating with ports and giving any real competition to USB-C. So the only argument that makes any sense at all would be a strong moral stance against virtually any government intervention in businesses. But that doesn't make the arguments true. Frankly, I understand the worry that this could be a slippery slope and that governments all around the world could start over-regulating technology. That said, given that tech basically doesn't have any regulations at all, I think this is a pretty reasonable place to start. And if there ever is any overregulation, I'll be there to argue against it. Hey guys, thanks for watching another video. As always, please hit that like button. It really does help with the algorithm. Also, comment down below with your thoughts on the EU regulations. Do you think it's warranted? And are there any other regulations that governments should consider regarding tech? It's Carl from Techonomics, over and out.